High above the Indian Ocean, disaster strikes.
The engine's on fire!
More than 10 kilometers in the air, all 4 engines of a British Airways 747 stop working.
Roger, declare emergency.
Mayday, 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 Speedbird 9.
The cabin is filling with smoke, and the jet is falling toward the ocean. June 24th, 1982. British Airways Flight 9 cruises through the sky over Indonesia. In just a couple of hours, all 263 people on board are scheduled to land in Perth, Australia. Captain Eric Moody, one of the first at British Airways to be trained on the 747.
Jakarta Control, Speedbird 9 over Halim at level 370.
Speedbird 9, roger.
First Officer Roger Greaves has been a co-pilot for more than 6 years. Barry Townley Freeman has been a flight engineer. As the jet flies over the city of Jakarta, it's cruising at more than 12,000 meters and has been in the air for a little over an hour. In the cockpit, the flight takes an unsettling turn.
I think we better get the captain back up here.
In the cabin, the smoke begins to thicken.
When did it start?
Well, just after you stepped out.
Anything on radar?
No, it's clear, not a cloud. Oh my lord, look at engine 4! It's lit up somehow. Captain, have a look at number 1.
It's the same on my side.
None of the crew have ever seen anything like this before. But the light show is just the beginning. Their bizarre flight is about to take a terrifying turn for the worse. Strange lights are striking their windshield. Inside the cabin, smoke is growing thicker. Chief Steward Graham Skinner is organizing an intense but quiet search for a fire. Flight engineer Barry Townley Freeman is checking his instruments carefully. He smelled the smoke, but so far has no indication that there's a fire in any of the plane's systems. They are suddenly faced with a frightening new surprise.
Dad! The engine's on fire!
Cheers. Sit down.
As fire engulfs the engines, one of them revs loudly and shuts down.
Engine failure, number 4.
Fire action, number 4.
Checklist, power and gear.
Set.
Thrust lever,
Closed.
start lever.
Off.
The instruments don't show a fire on the plane, but the passengers can see flames erupting from the engines and stretching along the side of the 747. The cabin crew begins storing anything that's loose. They don't want dishes or bottles flying around the cabin if the plane begins to dive. As the attendants try to reassure the passengers, the flight crew are stunned as their bizarre situation suddenly gets much worse.
Number 2, engine's gone.
All right then, begin the engine shutdown.
No, wait! We've all gone. All 4 engines have failed.
Roger, declare emergency.
Mayday, 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 Speedbird 9. We have lost all 4 engines out of 370. Mayday, 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 Speedbird 9. We've lost all 4 engines.
With no engine power and no idea what has crippled their plane, British Airways Flight 9 begins falling from the sky.
Jakarta Control, Speedbird 9, we have lost all 4 engines, now out of 360.
First Officer Roger Greaves has trouble getting his message across.
Speedbird 9, have you got a problem?
Jakarta Control, Speedbird 9, we have lost all 4 engines. Repeat, all 4 engines. Now descending through flight level 350.
Speedbird 9, you have lost number 4 engine?
This idiot doesn't understand. Jakarta Control, Speedbird 9, we have lost all 4
Only when another plane nearby relays the Mayday call do controllers in Jakarta understand.
Engines. Now descending through flight level 350.
Speedbird 9, all 4 engines out. Understood.
With no power, Flight 9 has started a long, slow fall. The crew has less than half an hour before they smash into the sea. And the crew isn't having any success getting them started again.
All right, from the top, battery, check. On. Crossfeed valves. Open. Fire switch. In.
At 10,000 meters, Captain Eric Moody decides to turn the plane back to the closest airport, Halim, just outside Jakarta. But even that is too far away if he can't get at least some of the engines going again.
Pressure warning, Captain. We're at 10,000.
As well as providing electrical power, the engines on a jumbo jet help keep the cabin pressurized. The crew reach for their oxygen masks.
The top again. Battery, check. On.
As the plane falls lower and lower, Captain Moody faces a difficult choice. A mountain range cuts across the island of Java between his plane and the airport. He knows he has to be at least 3,500 meters high to clear it. But if the engines don't restart soon, they won't make it. Without power, his only other option is landing at night in the middle of the ocean. At this rate, the plane will crash in a matter of minutes. It's just a question of where.
Nothing. It's not starting.
All right, from the top then. Battery, check. Start level.
Cut off.
Fuel pressure.
Available.
Standby ignition on.
Then, as suddenly as it had stopped working, the 4th engine roars back to life.
Engine 4, back online.
A 747 can fly with 1 engine, but Captain Moody knows that just 1 engine still won't give him enough power to clear the mountains. As the plane falls past 4,000 meters, another engine coughs and comes back to life.
Engine 3, back online.
It's followed quickly by the final 2.
I can't believe it. Engines 1 and 2, both back online.
From almost certain disaster, the crippled jet is now under full power.
Jakarta, Speedbird 9, we are back in business. All 4...
This time, local controllers have no trouble understanding the message.
Speedbird 9, all 4 engines serviceable again. Confirm continuing to Halim.
Affirmative, affirmative.
Captain Moody begins climbing, putting plenty of room between his plane and the mountains below. But as he does, the strange lights that he saw when the crisis began reappear in front of the jet. Before he can descend, the plane is stricken again.
Engine 2 is surging.
The engine's violent backfire could lead to a catastrophic explosion. The captain must make another fateful decision.
Begin shutdown drill.
Checklist powering gear. Off.
As the plane closes in on the airport, First Officer Greaves thinks the windshield is covered in moisture, making it hard to see through. Somehow, the glass itself has been badly damaged.
For some unknown reason, I looked out the edge of my windscreen, and about a 2-inch strip down the edge on the left-hand side, I could see much more clearly, but I couldn't see anything much out the front. It was getting more and more opaque the nearer and nearer we got to the lights.
The crew gets a final unwelcome surprise. Equipment on the ground that helps them descend at the proper angle isn't working. After all the troubles they've been through, now the crew has to land their plane nearly blind.
300 feet, Captain. 200. 100. 50 feet. 30 feet.
Reverse.
80 knots.
We're down.
Safely on the ground at Halim Airport in Jakarta, passengers celebrate the end of a harrowing ordeal. In the cockpit, the flight crew are relieved. The damage to the 747 is extensive. The windshield is heavily scratched. The wings and nose of the plane seem to be sanded down. The paint has been stripped off. Bare metal shows through. The engines were choked with fine dust, pieces of rock and sand. When it was closely studied, they learned that the debris was clearly volcanic ash. The night they were flying, there had been a major eruption of the Mount Galunggung volcano. It's located just 160 kilometers southeast of Jakarta. As the ash cloud rose more than 15,000 meters into the night, winds pushed it to the southwest, right into the path of British Airways Flight 9. The crew of Flight 9 was recognized with awards and commendations in the months after their incredible night.